You're listening to The Philosopher's Note on the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. More wisdom in less time.
Hi, this is Brian. Welcome to The Philosopher's Notes on the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, a practical guide to the fulfillment of your dreams by Deepak Chopra. We'll start with a quote from Deepak. He says, "Success in life could be defined as the continued expansion of happiness and the progressive realization of worthy goals. Success is the ability to fulfill your desires with effortless ease, and yet success, including the creation of wealth, has always been considered to be a process that requires hard work, and it is often considered to be at the expense of others. We need a more spiritual approach to success and affluence, which is the abundant flow of all good things to you. With the knowledge and practice of spiritual law, we put ourselves in harmony with nature and create with carefreeness, joy, and love." End quote. Wow. All right, I'll just start by saying this is one of those truly life-changing kind of books, and perhaps I should offer a warning. Warning, do not read this book unless you are ready to be transformed. On my last read, I've read it several times at this point, I was so inspired by a heightened sense of clarity around my Dharma, which is one of the 7 spiritual laws, that I sold the business I was running at the time, Zod's, within about 60 days of realizing I had a higher purpose to fulfill. It was very, very powerful. And although this is a small book and a quick read, it may win the award for word, most wise book out there. It's packed with wisdom. Actually, on further reflection, it definitely wins the award. If it's not on your shelf yet, I recommend you get it, and it really is that simple. It's literally one big quote. If you could see my copy, you'd see that more of it is underlined and marked up than not. And, as with all of Deepak's books, the words flow lyrically, as we're guided into a deeper sense of who we are and how we're destined to manifest our higher selves. So let's jump straight in with law number 1, the law of pure potentiality. Quote, "When you discover your essential nature and know who you really are, in that knowing itself is the ability to fulfill any dream you have. And the more you experience your true nature, the closer you are to the field of pure potentiality." End quote. So law number 1 is the law of pure potentiality. You are pure potential, period. And when you discover that, as Deepak says, the simple knowing itself is the ability to fulfill any dream you may have. And this law reminds me of one of my absolute favorite thoughts from one of my absolute favorite teachers, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who says, "There's nothing capricious in nature, and the implanting of a desire indicates that its gratification is in the constitution of the creature that feels it." If you believe Emerson, I certainly do, there is nothing capricious in nature. If you have the desire, you have the ability to manifest that desire. Nature, God, spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is not capricious. What do you want? You have the power to create it, period. The trick? Practice Deepak's first law. There's a reason why this is law number 1, right? And know that you are pure potentiality. And, quote, "When you experience the power of the self, there is an absence of fear. There is no compulsion to control and no struggle for approval or external power. Your true self, which is your spirit, your soul, is completely free of those things. It is immune to criticism. It is unfearful of any challenge, and it feels beneath no one." End quote. The next big idea is stillness. Deepak says, but first you have to practice stillness. Stillness is the first requirement of manifesting your desires, because in stillness lies your connection to the field of pure potentiality that can orchestrate an infinity of details for you. End quote. Stillness. Deepak talks about the importance of meditation. In fact, he recommends an ideal of 30 minutes in the AM and 30 minutes in the PM. We're so busy, always bombarded by so much stimuli, that unless we consciously take the time to unplug from that noise, it's very difficult, perhaps impossible, to really connect to our deepest intuition and to our true self. If you're not a regular meditator, and even if you are, see what you can do to slow down throughout the day. Stuck in traffic? Perfect time to get still. Turn off the radio, turn off the music, turn on Source. Breathe. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Raise your shoulders as you breathe in and let them down as you breathe out. Turn off your cell phone and your BlackBerry as often as you possibly can. I used to personally live with a direct feed of email into my nervous system, so I know how hard that can be, but do it. Slow down. Find the stillness. Take a bath, take a walk on the beach or in the woods or the park. Go to your favorite quiet place and just sit. Each time you do that, it's almost like you're bringing your intuition to the gym and training it to get stronger, to get more open and more receptive to tapping the secrets of your highest self. So be still and watch your power grow. And as you do that, the next big idea comes in, which is the law of giving. Deepak says, practicing the law of giving is actually very simple. If you want joy, give joy to others. If you want love, learn to give love. If you want attention and appreciation, learn to give attention and appreciation. If you want material affluence, help others to become materially affluent. In fact, the easiest way to get what you want is to help others get what they want. End quote. Brilliant. Deepak's big point with the law of giving is the need to circulate our wealth. Did you know the word affluence comes from the word affluere, which means to flow to, and that affluence means to flow in abundance? Or how about the word currency, which comes from the Latin and means to run or to flow? Money flows or it stagnates. If we want more of something in our life, we need to keep it flowing, whether it's money, love, appreciation, attention, or kindness. If you want more of something, we need to learn to give more. What do you want more of in your life? Love, appreciation, attention, affluence? Learn to give love, give appreciation, give attention, give affluence. Reminds me of Eric Butterworth's brilliant book, Spiritual Economics. If you have any desire to integrate your spirituality in your bank account, I highly recommend that book as well. And you can check out my notes on that as well. Butterworth goes into depth on the karmic law that we must give in order to receive anything, saying, in an orderly universe, there is simply no way you can get something for nothing. And he goes on to say, quote, the takers are the people who believe that their lives will always be the total of what they can get from the world. They are always thinking, get. They plan and scheme ways to get what they want in money, in love, in happiness, and in all kinds of good. No matter that they may be applying metaphysical techniques, they still may very well be takers. But whatever may be their spiritual ideals or lack of any, no matter what they take, they can never know peace or security or fulfillment. The givers, on the other hand, are convinced life is a giving process. Thus, their subtle motivation in all their ways is to give themselves away in love, in service, and in all the many helpful ways they can invest themselves. They are always secure, for they intuitively know that their good flows from within. End quote. It's powerful. Let's practice giving today. And here's a great idea from this law. Deepak says the best way to jumpstart this energy in your life is to give something to every person with whom you come into contact. It doesn't have to be something material. It could be a compliment or a prayer or a flower. That's really cool. So let's see if we can put that into practice today and give. Which leads us to the next law, which is the law of karma. Quote, the best way to understand and maximize the use of karmic law is to become consciously aware of the choices we make in every moment. Karma, the law of cause and effect, the concept that we reap what we sow. My hunch is you've heard this at least 100 times, but do you live it? Are you aware of the seeds you are planting with each thought and each action? Are you aware of these choices moment to moment? Are you aware of just how conditioned our reflexes are and just how quickly we can respond in the same habitual patterns? Stimulus response. We need to become aware. We need to make conscious choices. The next law is the law of least effort. Quote, grass doesn't try to grow, it just grows. Fish don't try to swim, they just swim. Flowers don't try to bloom, they bloom. Birds don't try to fly, they fly. This is their intrinsic nature. End quote. Another beautiful thought. So Deepak's law of least effort is grounded in 3 components: acceptance, responsibility, and defenselessness. First, acceptance. The idea of accepting what is, not trying to force something to be something other than what it already is. With that, we gain new energy, and our efforts become less strained, more grounded in love and pure expression. Reminds me of Byron Katie's brilliant and hilarious comment that forms the basis of her book, Loving What Is. She says, I realized that it's insane to oppose it. When I argue with reality, I lose, but only 100% of the time. Ha! She loses when she argues with reality, but only 100% of the time. That's brilliant. How about you? My hunch, the same percentage applies. It definitely is for me. The second is responsibility. This is much like Stephen Covey's habit number 1 of the 7 habits, namely, be proactive. Don't be a victim, blaming others for your responses to a given situation. Take responsibility and choose a constructive response to reality as it is showing up. As Deepak says, quote, all problems contain the seeds of opportunity, and this awareness allows you to take the moment and transform it to a better situation or thing. And the third principle to the law of least effort is defenselessness. This is a place of being where you don't need to convince people you're right, wrong, worthy, whatever. Don't be defensive. As Deepak says, quote, when you remain open to all points of view, not rigidly attached to only one, your dreams and desires will flow with nature's desires. You can be sure when the season is right, your desires will manifest. End quote. So you want to flow on the path with least effort? Practice acceptance, responsibility, defenselessness. And the next law is the law of intention and desire. Quote, one-pointed intention is that quality of attention that is unbending in its fixity of purpose. One-pointed intention means holding your attention to the intended outcome with such unbending purpose that you absolutely refuse to allow obstacles to consume and dissipate the focused quality of your attention. There is a total and complete exclusion of all obstacles from your consciousness. You are able to maintain an unshakable serenity while being committed to your goal with intense passion. This is the power of detached awareness and one-pointed, focused intention simultaneously. End quote. That's simply genius. Deepak differentiates between desire and intent. Desire has attachment. Intent does not. It's imperative that we harness the power of our pure intention, independent of the outcomes of our actions. My hunch is you felt your power when you're just flowing, creating fearlessly and totally independent of attachment. And you've experienced forcing things. I know I certainly have. So which one got you the better results? Flowing and trusting, or kind of forcing things? It's pretty clear for me, and I trust it is for you as well. Let's flow. And that flows right into the next big idea, which is the law of detachment. The law of detachment says that in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, you have to relinquish your attachment to it. This doesn't mean that you give up the intention to create your desire. You don't give up the intention, and you don't give up the desire. You give up your attachment to the result. End quote. Amen. Again, we've heard this, but do we live it? And people tend to go in one of two directions from my perspective. They're ridiculously wound up in a knot, worried and stressed about whether they're going to achieve a result. I've definitely mastered that state, as I'm sure you have as well. Whether it's a new job, a new relationship, or whatever. Or we go in the opposite direction and misinterpret the idea of detachment to mean no desires, and then go through life kind of wide-eyed and unblinking and aimlessly pseudo-spiritual. The trick? Maintain our passionate commitment to our ideals and goals and intentions and desires. Just don't be attached. The easiest way to hold the tension? Just take the next step in front of you. Don't get all caught up in whether it's going to all work out in the end. What do you need to do next? Do that impeccably. And odds are that faster than we can imagine, our results will show up on our doorsteps. Our next law is the law of dharma, or purpose in life. Quote, everyone has a purpose in life, a unique gift or special talent to give to others. And when we blend this unique talent with service to others, we experience the ecstasy and exaltation of our own spirit, which is the ultimate goal of goals. End quote. Can I get another amen? Thank you. Another beautiful thought. Newsflash, you have a unique gift to give to the world. As the Buddha says, your work is to discover your work, and then with all your heart to give yourself to it. Marcus Aurelius puts it this way, everything, a horse, a vine, is created for some duty. For what task, then, were you yourself created? A man's true delight is to do the things he was made for. Emerson likes to say, nature arms each man with some faculty which enables him to do easily some feat impossible to any other, and thus makes him necessary to society. How about Krishna, who says in the Bhagavad Gita, it is better to perform one's own duties imperfectly than to master the duties of another. By fulfilling the obligations he is born with, a person never comes to grief. And I'm going to continue with several more. Abraham Maslow says, musicians must make music, artists must paint, poets must write, if they are to ultimately be at peace with themselves. What human beings can be, they must be. They must be true to their own nature. This need we may call self-actualization. Seneca says, man's ideal state is realized when he has fulfilled the purpose for which he is born. And what is it that reason demands of him? Something very easy, that he live in accordance with his own nature. Wayne Dyer offers, if you want to feel connected to your own purpose, know this for certain. Your purpose will only be found in service to others, and in being connected to the something far greater than your mind, body, ego. And hip-hop mogul Russell Simmons has this to say, your purpose is to act on the resources God gives you. If God gives you a bucket of fish, you have to distribute those fish. If you don't, they're going to rot, attract a bunch of flies, and start stinking up your soul. And finally, Martin Seligman in Authentic Happiness describes the science of fulfillment as knowing yourself well enough to use your signature strengths often in your day-to-day life in the greatest service to the world. I could go on even longer, but I think we're on the same page here. You have a purpose. There is something you are uniquely suited to do, something that you can do better than anyone. This is the chapter that transformed my life, completely and more than once. And this is where the warning comes from. If you take this idea seriously, and you're not on purpose, and you know if you are or not, you're at a crossroads. You can go deep into your soul and begin taking steps that are more resonant with your highest calling, or not. Your choice determines your destiny. The law, yes, law of Dharma, states that you have a unique blend of skills that you are here to give to the world. To the extent you give these gifts to the world, you feel joy. If you don't, well, you rot from the inside out. Deepak has a series of questions and exercises to aid you in discovering and living your Dharma. If all you did was pick up the book, turn to this chapter, and read and do these exercises, you'd get a benefit countlessly greater than the cost of the book. I recommend you do. Until then, brainstorm your greatest strengths, journal about the times when you felt most alive, what were you doing, and how can you do more of that in your life? And meditate on this question, how can I serve? In expressing our unique talents in service to the world, I sign off on this philosopher's note with the body of it, and we will now take a look at the author Deepak Chopra, as well as some other notes I think you'd enjoy if you liked this one, and then some quotes from the sidebar of the PDF. So, about the author of the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak Chopra. Deepak Chopra's books have become international bestsellers and classics of their kind. Dr. Chopra is founder of the Chopra Center for Wellbeing in Carlsbad, California. You can visit his website at chopra.com. That's CHOPRA.com. That's from his website. And from me, Deepak is just amazing. If you haven't gotten into his work yet, please do. My top picks are the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success and the Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire. They're both life-changing, as are many of his books. And Deepak's an absolute master writer. So dive in and enjoy. And if you enjoyed this note, I think you'll also enjoy the philosopher's notes on Ralph Waldo Emerson, spiritual economics, loving what is, the 7 habits of highly effective people, it's not about the money, the science of getting rich, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the secrets of the millionaire mind. All right, and here's some quotes from the sidebar. The first one is from the Upanishads. You are what your deep, driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. As your deed is, so is your destiny. And Deepak says, stillness alone is the potentiality for creativity. Movement alone is creativity restricted to a certain aspect of its expression. But the combination of movement and stillness enables you to unleash your creativity in all directions, wherever the power of your attention takes you. The quote from Swami Vivekananda, Karma is the eternal assertion of human freedom. Our thoughts, our words, and deeds are the threads of the net which we throw around ourselves. All right, and the rest of the quotes are from Deepak. He says, "This means that your acceptance of this moment is total and complete. You accept things as they are, not as you wish they were in this moment. This is important to understand. You can wish for things in the future to be different, but in this moment, you have to accept things as they are. And learn to harness the power of intention, and you can create anything you desire. The moment you relinquish your attachment to the result, combining one pointed intention with detachment at the same time, you will have that which you desire. You have a talent that is unique in its expression, so unique that there's no one else alive on this planet that has that talent or that expression of that talent. This means that there's one thing you can do and one way of doing it that is better than anyone else on the entire planet. When you combine the ability to express your unique talent with service to humanity, then you make full use of the law of Dharma." Well, that officially wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed and excited to put these 7 spiritual laws of success into my life more and more, and I trust you are as well. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.
We hope you enjoyed this Philosopher's Note. Please go to www.philosophersnotes.com to download more.